Snyder. My grandfather owned the Philadelphia Eagles, and my mom, Susan Toes, ran the team for my grandfather. So I spent the majority of my childhood on the sidelines of professional football games. And this is my co-host,
Katie Clark, and I am a dating and relationship coach and a matchmaker. So I am here to help with a lot of the X's and O's in real life as well.
So Katie, I'm going to share with our audience how we met.
Yes.
We met on Instagram.
We did. IG buddies right here.
I was not looking for a relationship or a matchmaker.
She swiped right. Like, that girl's cool.
But I was like, she has great advice. And you know what? Like, I'm always looking for people that have great advice and that can be great advisors. And then I knew that we were about to start doing this show, Game On, X's and O's for Life's book. So I was like, the perfect person to co-host is Katie.
And I love it. And we're doing life kind of very in sync. We both have kids. We both have divorce. Like, we're doing life together. And we're doing it really well. So I feel like we have good advice to give. And it's important that we want to have an open opportunity to share with you guys and to, look cute in our sweatshirts together. I mean, who does this anymore? We're like besties. I should have had this half and you should have had that half on yours, like best friends, right?
I know. And it's nice. And the other thing is, like, making friends as an adult is almost a skill. Like, when my kids were younger, I would be like the room mom and I'd make friends there. And that way with my kids, the kids in their class and the moms and the parents. But then when you make friends as an adult, you're like, you know what? That's actually a really cool thing to be able to do. And I think that sharing my experiences and learning about your experiences, and then we can share them with our audience.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of interesting advice to talk about and things and guidance. And so we're really excited to be part of the Alumni Network and share Game On, X's and O's for Life's Playbook, even to the point where you guys out there might not even know what's the X and what is the O, right?
Quick quiz. We have a quiz coming here. Do you know the X's and O's?
Right.
In literal, like, the meaning of that. Marnie, now we actually just had a discussion just a minute ago because we weren't quite sure, but Marnie was correct. Why don't you share the X and the O?
Well, it's counterintuitive, but for, all the football players out there, because we do like to speak in X's and O's, the X is the kiss and the O is, how do you make the O?
Like
that?
Sure. Like that?
Like
I'm going to hug you.
Okay.
I think hug.
That is the hug. So we're the, that's why I love football too, is that in football, you talk in X's and O's. And so you talk in X's and O's, and like life, you just move the ball down the field to the end zone to put points on the board. So that's what you do. Obviously, there's always a little bit of defense in life because we have to play defense in order to, keep things kind of going along. There's a little bit of defense in life, but that's what I love.
But there's strategies and there's players and there's, you guys have these call books of different offensive and defensive runs, right? And those things work. So I think even in life, like, what is working for people? And that's what we're going to be bringing up in our 4 quarters. We're going to be exploring, we call them 4 quarters, but it's just doing life and doing life well, which is what we've been talking about. And one of our first quarters that we're going to be talking about, which is something we're passionate about, obviously anybody who's, part of the alumni media is passionate about, it's health and wellness. Like, this is super important in life, and how do we do it better? So that's definitely one of the things that we will be talking about each segment.
Health and wellness is something that, like, now as I have gotten older, I mean, I'm so much more interested in health and wellness, mostly because, a lot of people out there know that my mom is living with dementia. So it's something that I'm really aware of, like keeping her feeling really good during her dementia, and also being preventative, not wanting to get it. Not that there's any sort of like playbook for that, but doing the best we can with health and wellness. Really important. I love talking about health and wellness.
And I grew up as a D1 athlete. I mean, my mom never worked out a day in her life. Isn't that crazy? And that's just not the lifestyle that I want, because it's the choices we make that help us prevent later. And it's what you're speaking of. So we're going to be talking about bringing up new topics. I mean, we did ice bath on our first episode, which you definitely have to go watch. It's already live. And I still owe a whole life bath, an ice bath picture of me, which my ice bath is my pool. I'm working at it. So I owe you guys that. So make sure you check back in for that ice bath. Check us out on Instagram, right? So we are Game On XOTV. You will want to be watching and following. Make sure you subscribe, all of that. But then let's talk about our second quarter.
Okay.
Right?
Let's talk
What
about
is it that we're going to be talking about on our show?
I think mostly lifestyle. I think that like the things that come up on a daily basis, lifestyle. So, and it's a pretty broad subject, but lifestyle to me is like how you spend your day. What do you do to spend your day? What do you do to give back? What do you do as a parent? What do you do as a friend? What do you do as a business person? What's your lifestyle, and how you consistently do the same things over and over again in your lifestyle to really create a really good pattern of, again, being health and wellness, but also just having a very good lifestyle. I think when your lifestyle is good,
Right.
and clean, everything else, you sleep better at night and so
Right.
forth.
Right. And I hope we're going to be talking about the fun part of lifestyle, which is travel. Like, let's talk about travel. I'm all about what's the next trip, talking about cooking and eating healthy and just, that kind of part. I mean, we're going to be talking about holidays, gift giving, whatever the season is, we're going to be bringing it up. So I think that will be a really fun topic. I mean, it's never ending and we're living it every day. So
every day.
And again, we want to hear from you. So make sure that you check us out on all our social. Let us know. We want to hear from you.
And then, okay, our third quarter, this is really, this is your area of expertise.
But I have to say, when we hang out, the way we talk about it is very similar. So I feel like you're just as good. It's relationships. And we're talking not just dating, since I am a dating coach, but being in partnerships, being relationships with kids, dating someone with their kids. Like, we just had a very deep discussion on that. And really doing life, because relationships are probably the most important thing. I mean, our health and wellness comes from relationships too, bitterness and that struggle. So we want to be talking about the deeper, and I like to call it the EQ, the emotional quotient. And some guys are like, what is this word, right? And so we're going to be getting deep in the EQ in relationships.
Right. And relationships could also be, because I feel like you have your personal relationships and you have your platonic relationships and romantic relationships.
Business.
There's so many different areas of relationships, and that we're in all of those areas. So I'm excited to share that. And I'm excited to learn too. That's another thing, is that like, I want to know what people want us to talk about, but I also want to know some thoughts. I want to know your thoughts. I will have questions, and it'll be fun for me to, hear certain things.
I'm sure we'll have good banter on all the segments, but this one could be the best. And then our fourth quarter, we're basically doing a pretty much, kind of a free quarter. What are you thinking of that?
Well, I think for the fourth quarter, definitely, obviously, if there's seasonal stuff that we want to talk about, or anything that's really come up. So things that are feeling that we might be experiencing, something that is a good thing that we're doing or a bad thing, or if we need, somebody needs to get it, like, all right, I need to talk about, like, one of my kids needs a car. Like, what do I do about that?
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's not my thing. Like, let's talk about the car thing. Like, do we get them a new car? Do we get them a used car? Just whatever random stuff that you might have experience about, or that you might have questions for me, and
kind of weighing in, right?
Yeah.
But I really think we should open this up to you guys. Like, we want that fourth quarter to be about you and your topics and what's on your heart and mind. So we ask that you guys would send us your questions, send us your dilemmas, your lifestyle, health issues, with the holidays coming up, like, what should I be eating and what should I not be eating? Like, what do you suggest for presents for my new daughter-in-law? Like, these are the things that we are happy to answer. So make sure that you, again, get on the social, send us an email, whatever way you need to get a hold of us, because we want to answer those questions for you in our fourth quarter. It's about you, the viewer. And so we just want to invite you to join us. We're a family. We don't even live by each other. Today's special that we're hanging out. But we want to make sure that this feels like a family, and that everyone's included and everyone's thriving in their X's and O's in life.
Yes. And you know what? And I do speak in a lot of sports metaphors, because I do think that sports really are the universal language. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity that we have with Alumni Media. And that opportunity just came about because of my family connections, but also because they were like, you know what, you and Katie can bring something special to the Alumni Network, different than what they have. We're not going to talk hardcore X's and O's. We're not talking a lot of sports. They will be part of the show, but we're excited just to share a female perspective with our audience, men, women, kids. It'll be a family friendly and just a fun journey that we'll take you on weekly.
Well, every week we plan on coming to you guys. So make sure you are subscribed, tuned in. You know, I've already said it, but I'm serious. We really want you to be a part of this journey with us. Our first episode is already up. We're talking ice baths. We're talking Thanksgiving. I mean, it just passed. Like we're talking life and how to do it right and do it well. So make sure that you check that out. Game On XOTV, and that's going to be social media across the board. So we made it easy for you to find. If not, screenshot this right now. Screenshot this right
That's
now.
right.
Does this make my neck look fat?
No,
I
you
don't
look
know.
great. That's what I love. You know what? That's the other thing too, is that like, obviously we want to look good, but like, I feel like now in my life, like the vanity is gone, but it's really more about like being, I mean, like too much vanity. Like I still want to look good in everything I do because that's part of my presentation, but it's like, we want to have fun and we want to present ourselves and we want to just be real. And that's like the other thing that really is important and what you'll get when you watch Katie and myself. We're real people. We are real people doing real things. We have real lives and, you know, great lives, but there's always, you know, things that are maybe a little bit more difficult for us at some days and just like everybody else out there. So, you know, join in and come along for the ride and the playbook for life's, you know, for life.
Life's. Oh, you're supposed to say it. Life's.
Oh, life's X's and O's.
That's my
Exactly. Hugs and kisses. Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, make sure you're joining us. Like, you know, Instagram. Come follow us. And I'm also on there, Dating with Katie. So that's a good place to follow as well. And Marnie, you're on there as well with
I
your
am.
books.
Yes.
She's got a great lineup of books. You got kids, grandkids. Right now is the season to buy them.
That's right. Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog Game Day. So you can follow me, Marnie Schneider 1 on Instagram, and Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog, or actually Game Day in the USA is the best place to find me. GameDayInTheUSA.com, because every day is game day. Every day.
And real fast, I have to say this before we log off, is that this weekend's a big weekend, Marnie. You know what's coming, right?
I've heard.
You want to tell them?
This weekend, well,
It's a big
actually,
weekend.
okay, I have an interesting story about the cowboy hat.
Okay.
It
Wait.
originated.
I live in Dallas right here, Cowboy fan. And then
Well, obviously, I mean, I'm a football fan because I write books about all different football teams, but I would say that I definitely have a history with the Philadelphia
Yes.
Eagles. And so clearly the Eagles Cowboy matchup is always a big one.
big.
And all right, so a little bit of interesting trivia. The cowboy hat is really, actually, if you were to really find out about the whole history of it, is really a Philadelphia hat, because the Stetson company was located in Philadelphia. The first cowboy hat was made by John B. Stetson Company in Philadelphia. And
Ooh.
yeah, so the original Stetson hat was manufactured in Philadelphia, and it was there until like 1970 something, I think. And then the factory burnt down and they moved it. But yeah, so
okay.
it's really a Philadelphia hat. It's not really a cowboy hat. I mean, just saying.
Well, and the good thing is Marnie knows that my dad was from Philadelphia. So I have to say I have a little bit of affinity for her and for the Eagles as well. So we'll see how that game goes.
Yes.
And we will see you guys on our next live or our next episode. And we want to make sure that you are following us. And until then.
Until then, X's and O's. Go out there
and go do some good X's and O's
Exactly.
for Life's Playbook.
That is right. Mwah.